Hi, and welcome to Stitching with Cindy Botts. Today I wanted to show you this cover I made for a composition notebook. And I think it's really cool to cover paperback books and notebooks and journals with some fabric, soften it up. Again, this is just a composition notebook, and I made a little bookmark for it, and I'll show you the cover. It's just very cheap book. That notebook, this one happens to be college ruled, and I think I got it from the Dollar Tree or the Dollar General, one of those. And I simply made a large rectangle using the crazy quilt method, and I made that large rectangle. This is a piece of flannel, and I just put the two right sides together, sewed around the four sides, leaving an opening, pulled it right side out, so I had a giant rectangle. Then I just simply folded it in half and did a line of stitching on the spine and a 1/4 inch away from that on each side, just to give the spine some stability and holding the two fabrics together. Now when I make this the next time, I think I want my little pockets here for the cover to be a little wider. They seem to be a little narrow, so I just put another row of stitch. I folded it over, pressed it with my iron, and put a row of stitching there just to give it a nice edge. And then I tacked the top with top stitching along the side and along the bottom to make the pocket. And again, I would like it a little deeper so it came over a little more, but it's still secure in there. And you just simply put both ends of the cover in the little pocket you made there. I made a little tab, just folding over the material, sewing the three sides, pulling it right side out, adding the Velcro and attaching it on, and putting a piece of Velcro on the other side. And there you have it, a nice little journal cover. Then I just took a strip of the material I made for the crazy quilt technique and made a little tube again and turned it right side out, top stitched it, and attached it inside. And there I have a nice little bookmark for my journal. So for this technique of what I call crazy quilting, if you look at other videos and do research on crazy quilting, they used all sorts of different materials, and what I'm using are my scraps. This is a great way to use multiple scraps, different colors, different sizes, from all sorts of different projects. I have 2 quilt tops that I am going to put up also. They're not bound, and they don't have the borders on them or anything, no quilting. They're just simply the flimsy tops. But it shows you 2 different ways you can do it. You can do the crazy quilting in squares and assemble that together. You can do it in rectangular strips and sew them together that way, and I'll talk about that more in the quilt. For this one, if you look closely at the rectangle, you can see that I did a strip here. This is one strip, okay, and then you can see that I had made this double strip and then added this here. So there's so many different ways that you can make the strips, the rectangles, the squares, using the different fabrics. So let me just show you a couple of in progress strips Now, another reason to make a book or journal cover is if you have puppy dogs. Now, this, thank goodness, was a book that I had picked up at the thrift store, so I really like it. It's a very interesting book, but the puppy got at it. So this one definitely needs to have a cover put on it so that it stays together long enough for me to finish reading it. All right, so that was just a little side note for, you know, covers for your things. Here I have some in progress work for my next project using the crazy quilt method. So here you can see we have a leftover flying geese, a strip, and just 2 patches. And I just sewed them together. I sewed a triangle on here and sewed another piece on, just lengthening it. So then the next step would be just to take and square that up. Go ahead and cut off the sides there and maybe square this up. As long as you have a nice straight edge, your edge can be a diagonal that you're working off of. If you're into curved piecing, that's a whole nother thing you could do, but I'm just doing this in the crazy quilt style of straight. But their pieces, I'm sure, way back in the day had curves and all sorts of shapes. But I'm just trying to make mine simple, making the pieces into rectangles or squares so that I can sew them together to make a bigger piece of material. Here's another one that I took a leftover half square triangle. This piece just kind of has a triangle on the edge that gave it a curve. I added another triangle. And again, the next thing would be just to square that up and add on a piece. When you're adding on your pieces, you can add them to either side. You can add pieces to lengthen it. You can add pieces to make it wider. So I could take this 2 patch that's sewn together already and just lay it here on the side, do my 1/4 inch seam and sew it back, and that would lengthen the side, and then put another piece, maybe this piece here up at the top here. Again, right sides together and fold it back, and that would add to the length on that end. And again, just reaching into the scraps, okay? And if I had this side here already cut nice and straight line to sew, I could add another piece on the sides. Just keeping it growing, whether you do the width or the height, just keep growing to the length or the size you want. And again, I like making nice straight seams, but they can be diagonal or however, and you just keep reaching into your bag of scraps. Just keep reaching in there and pulling out something and seeing where it fits, okay? You can start with any shape you want and just build off of it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and come visit us again. Happy sewing. Bye now.